Okay, today brake discs. You get two types generally on bikes. On your standard, average, everyday bike, you usually get a solid lump of steel, nice and chunky, nice and heavy. And then on sports bikes and competition bikes, you quite often get a floating disc, which is held together with these little bobbins, these things, which consists of a plug. In the case of these ones, two spring washers, one solid washer and an E-clip, and it's in two parts, centre part and the braking part. Now what I'm doing today is Triumph's got these on, solid steel discs, but my CCM has got these on the front. Now this one looks proper ropey and tatty and second hand. It's not actually that bad. It's not particularly badly worn. It's a little bit scored and it's got some corrosion on it. So I'm going to clean that up, repaint the bit where the pads don't hit, clean all the bobbins up and put it back together again. Now these discs are usually, the massive advantage of them is they're very, very unlikely to warp through heat, so you can do fierce braking. I mean, the CCM will easily do stoppies. You can do fierce braking and you're very unlikely, if you get this hot, to warp the disc. This has been sat in the garage for a long time. It's actually, I've got a spare set of wheels and it's on them, and I looked at them and thought they need to be cleaned up. So that's what I'm doing today. Now then, today I'll just remove the last of these. So a couple of screwdrivers, a little fine one to get in there, and a bigger one to lever the E-clip all the way off, like so. And that should push through. Now a little bit sticky, but well, I'm putting it all back together so I don't lose any parts. I've got to clean these up. They're a little bit grubby looking. And then I'm going to clean up and repaint the actual painted part of the disc. Well, I'm going to clean up the whole thing actually. I'm going to clean up the braking surface as well, just with light abrasives. Now that one was much looser. And most of them have been pretty easy to come out. I've had about 2 or 3 that have been a bit on the tight side. But they will all get cleaned. It's quite a time consuming thing to be doing. But it's a pretty straightforward thing to do. And there we have, that one was a tight one. And then we have the disc separated. Butterfingers. And all 10 of the pins out. The next thing to do is clean it up. This is where the elbow grease starts. Okay, well, I'm pretty pleased with how well that cleaned up. Actually, no scoring at all on there. That's just, I don't know, that line is just maybe where it got a bit warmer, but no issues with scoring either side. So I've painted it all up. Only had gold paint, so it's had to be painted gold. And I cleaned up the bobbins, and they're now soaking in oil. I cleaned it with an orbital sander, cleaned up the bobbins with a brass wheel in my bench drill. I'm ready for reassembly. When everything's cleaned up and reassembled and repainted, it's just a case of reassembling the disc. Make sure you get all of the washers, spring washers, clips and everything in the right position, in the right order. And it's a bit of a fiddle, but it's not a difficult job. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's probably a 5 or a 6 for difficulty, and a good firm 8 for how fiddly it is. Now, I only had gold paint, so that's why it's gold, but it's cleaned up well. The braking surface is not scored. It's marked, it's discoloured, but it's not scored. I used fine wet and dry paper to rub it down and prep it for paint, and also get all the, or as many of the marks off the disc as I could. It was 800 grit, I believe, and I was just gentle with it. Soaked the bobbins, washers and clips in oil after cleaning them. They all went back together fairly easily, although, like I say, it's a fiddle of a job. And that's one refurbished disc, floating disc, for the front wheel of my CCM. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon.